I'm a happy person. What is up, Profitable Stylist? Here we go this week. Bernard is back, and man, have
Boom.
I missed you, buddy. So that's why, yeah, that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm smiling. I get to talk to you this week.
Can you hear me fine?
What?
Can you hear me fine?
Say again, what?
Are you messing with me? So my computer died, and what a week in Jamaica. Are we talking about work-life balance? Well,
Work-life balance.
I'm not really good at this balance thing.
No, I know. You're always off. You're always
I,
life. You're not work. You're just life.
I would rather be working. Even if it's for me personally, like my hobbies are usually work. I like to physically be moving. And so we went to Jamaica, and my wife, she's so happy. The kid, Carson, he's so happy. Of course, the dogs miss us. And they were so happy when we got home at like 2 a.m. Planes delayed. This was a unique thing. The plane was delayed, and the reason was that they weren't going to have water on the plane. So no coffee, no washing hands, no bathroom until we got to, like, I don't know, over 15 or 16,000 feet. I thought, well, you can't use the bathroom on takeoff and landing anyway. So what is it? I don't even understand how that works. But they were like, everybody go to the bathroom before you get on the plane. It's like a road trip, guys. Go try.
You're
So
right.
I was like, it's like your mom saying,
Think of the waterfalls. Think of the waterfalls.
Go, give it a try. So we're all getting nervous. Like, what are we going to be in the air from Charlotte to New Orleans, 2 hours and no water? I'm thinking if the plane's not okay, I'm fine if we don't fly. I mean, this is our lives we're talking about. People are mad that they're having issues with a plane. I'm thinking if they're having issues, take your time.
Take
Figure
your
it
time
out.
and fix it.
Yeah, I'll stay in a hotel if we need to get a plane that actually works. I'm fine with it. But the work-life balance thing, I mean, I did have to like come up with in my mind, and it was good because I got asked by a few people that must do the same thing. So what are your goals for this week in Jamaica? What are my goals? I mean, go to the beach, go to the pool, get a massage. What kind of goals can you have? But I've had a little lower back issue. I don't know, I lifted something wrong maybe, and I've been hurting for a couple of weeks. And so one of my goals was to heal my back. And so just not doing anything for a week was going to be part of the goal. I can't lift anything heavy. The lawn crew wouldn't let me help them out there in Jamaica. The brick cinder block crew, I'm just laying around a lot, which also can be bad for your back. So I'm doing some exercises for my lower back specifically, and I'm doing some stretching and a whole lot of resting. I mean, I got a little bit of a tan, not so much. I had to do a lot of sunblock. The sun's ridiculous. But we did do some fun things also while we were there. Went up some waterfalls and a boat ride and snorkeling, But mostly healing, building some relationships with some people that were there that I don't normally get to see much during the year. And that was it. But it's tough for me.
Do you ever hear the expression, I need a vacation from my vacation?
Or after my vacation.
Or after your vacation, you need a vacation after your vacation?
Yeah. And so I'm not quite that bad because there was a lot of resting on this vacation. It wasn't as, some like Disney World might be go, go, go. You're rushing here, rushing there, getting up early every single day. This was one of those ones where we literally could sleep late. You know what it was? We do this once a year with this group of friends of ours, and it's all inclusive. And that is not something I did as a kid. So Carson loves it because he's got an armband. We all have armbands, which is the key to our room. So when you leave the room, you can leave in shorts and a t-shirt, and you got your armband on, so you can get in. You can get in and out of your door. You can grab a towel at the little towel station to lay out. But you want to go to 3 or 4 different restaurants. You just walk in, order whatever you want, or get whatever you want off the buffet. Go to the coffee bar. Go to the dessert bar. Eat as much as you want. Drink whatever you want. The people who drink alcohol, they can drink as much as they want without having to think about having any money on them. And so that is an interesting feeling to have no limitations on those things that normally you have to think, do I have my credit card? Do I charge it to the room? Do I have enough money? Do I get the more expensive option or the cheaper option? What restaurant do we go to? We got a few kids with us. I can't afford this one. You don't have to think about it. It's Italian one night, Japanese one night, the buffet the next day, steak the next day, so all inclusive is interesting concept.
So then while you're laying there and while you're hanging out and while everything is provided, you don't have to necessarily go out and hunt for stuff. Were you thinking about how you could use any of that stuff for the salon or for work? Or were you really checked out and relaxing?
I can never check out. I mean, all
Because RJ just puts funny topic for a bunch of workaholics. You know?
I haven't
So
had
like,
a pretzel.
how much were you calculating work?
This is my first pretzel in a week.
Whoa. Yeah. And we did not have pretzels last week. I was going to eat pretzels in your honor, in your absence, but I reserved it for you. So you got to have double the amount this week to make up for it.
So since my computer is down, I can't see the comments on my phone. You'll have to keep up with them today.
Okay.
So yeah, I do. Money is my hobby. Most of my hobbies have something to do with money. And I found it fascinating because I didn't know if Jamaica would be considered a third world country, because I don't really get where those labels happen or how accurate they are. But I had met a friend years ago on a church missions trip, and I gave him a call, and he was going to drive to see me. And he said, you're about 45 minutes away. I can't afford to fill up my car after I come visit you. And I'm like, Melvin, I'll fill your tank up and give you some money. Come see me. I haven't seen you in 14 years, And I met him through Jay Benjamin, guy that we've interviewed on here before.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it was kind of neat to see this. He was like, I don't know, maybe an older 14. He might have been older teenager or early 20s. And now he's in his mid 30s, married, working. And so, yeah, first thing I wanted to know is, what are you doing? How much are you making? Where are you working? And so then I compared it to the waiter that helped us in one of the restaurants. And it's funny because you got to do the translation. Like, they each make about the same amount of money. They're making 30 to 40, depending on which one they were and what they did. And the restaurant guy had a range more so. The other guy's security guard, but roughly 35,000 Jamaican every 2 weeks. And so I'm doing the translation right away. Like, what are they living on? It's like $125 a week. And that being the money brain, I'm trying to think, maybe things are cheaper here, so it's fine. And then you find out it's still about $80 to $100 for him to fill up his car and gas. I thought, oh, gone, a fourth of his income fills his tank up. He's got to live close to work. So yeah, I can't stop thinking of the money and the business side of everything. How does this resort have so many employees? Well, they don't make a whole lot of money. That's part of it, and we are spending a lot to be there from the front end. So yeah, I can't turn the business brain off. And yes, I thought about how some of this all-inclusive idea could be brought into any of my business.
So then where was your balance? So then what is, because you hear about this a lot, especially lately, this past few years, you hear about this a lot, work-life balance. You got to find the middle ground. You got to know when to turn it off. You got to know when this, when that, What is your take on all of that?
I think what's more important is what makes you or your family happy. Because I get so tired of hearing people say to other couples, you let him do that, or you let her. It usually goes that way. It's usually you let him, or you do that for him. Like, don't fulfill that traditional role. Make him do that himself. Sometimes it goes the other way, and some guys try to be over masculine and like, what are you doing? Let her, And I'm thinking, why do you care what they do to or for each other in their relationship? So to me, I don't think that the balance can be the same for every relationship. If you're single, obviously, it's got to be what makes you and your friends happy, or can you get along with the people around you doing what you do? But in relationships, I think you can go for it's seasons, isn't it? There's seasons in the years, there's seasons in the ages, there's seasons in the ups and downs of what's going on in life. Some people make a big money mistake and they're like bankrupt, and doesn't matter how old or married or what's going on in your life, you might have to work more than you play for quite a while to get ahead. But do you have a goal, and are you saving, and are you trying to get to a point where you have to know, like, what is ultimate happiness for you? And most people are just never happy. That's probably the biggest problem.
That is part of the biggest problem, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get asked that question, and I just tell people all the time, I don't have a work-life balance. I just have my life. My life is my balance. And I'm just doing because I have the opportunity to do what I want to do. Nobody's forcing me to do what I want to do. I am constantly evolving and changing my job to have it become what I want it to be and what I want to do. And it's hard for a lot of people because you think about it's like, all right, you have to go to school, you have to go to college, you have to get a degree in this, and you have to go get this job. And there's this expectation of you have to be this kind of, I don't know, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be a doctor, you know, like a lot of families will be, you have to do like this because you have a cousin who did like this. You have to be successful like this because your father was successful like this, you know? So there are some people that are pressured into doing things they didn't necessarily choose to want to have to do. And I think that's where some of that comes from. But even if you're pushed into doing, like, I didn't want to be in this industry. I didn't want to be a hairdresser. I was forced to become a hairdresser.
Right.
But I found my little niche, my niche inside of this industry that I'm content with and that I'm happy with, you know? And then I became successful within that little pocket of what I wanted. So you do define your success and you do define it the way you dictate it. You are the main character of your story. It's your life. And if you're going to let somebody else dictate that to you, yeah, then that can suck.
Right.
That
I
can
think
suck
you
a
hit
little.
on a. I think you hit on a few important topics. Uh, the lies of that's what it should have been called. The lies of life. The lies. The lies that we believe. We believe these things that whoever they are. I don't know. You got to look around. They tell us is the right thing to do. Like, you've got to have this balance. You got to do this. You got to do that. And one of the big trending lies out there is you just need to find something you're happy doing or something that makes you happy. And I think that's backwards. I think it's backwards. I I don't know if this is 100% true, but I used to say I think I would be happy in jail. Not happy to go to jail. I'm not happy to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I'm going to try not to. But you know what? If I was in some other time and place where it was a little more arbitrary and you had a lot less, rule and fairness out there, and people did end up in jail with a lot less. That's why this country is what it is, and the trials and the supposed to be as fair as possible. It's still got its flaws, but still better than most countries. And so I often thought, if I was just in some labor camp breaking rocks all day, how it would be. I would still probably be one of the more positive ones on the crew because I feel like happiness comes from within. I kind of enjoy just being alive to start with. Now, I can't speak for people who have chemical imbalances, where they wish they were happy and they just can't be there. I've never had that problem, so that's a hard one for me to relate to. But for me, sure, I go through my little sad times a little here and there, but for the most part, I just look for the good, the happiness, and I know some people would disagree because I'm not perfect, but but I feel like you got to be happy in the job you have, be happy in the life you're in. And like you said, I didn't choose to do hair necessarily, but what about a time when everybody did what their parents did? If your parents were the blacksmiths of the town, that was the best you could hope for. Your family were farmers. You were probably born into a big family because they needed a lot of help on the farm, and you're probably never going to leave that farm for the rest of your life, and you're going to be making hay forever. So then happiness came second. Did you find the spouse that you wanted or didn't want? Did you have the children you want? Did you get to build a little house on the land somewhere and make your own little family? But you didn't even think about what business you were going to do. You just did the one you were born into. And in some ways, is that us? In some ways, are we doing some of the things we're born into?
Oh, absolutely. We're doing some of the things we're born into. Oh, even to this day, because what is it? How is it called? It's you either repeat or you re. It's a psychological thing, right? It's like you either repeat or you repel or something like that. You either go against the grain of what your family did before you, or you repeat the same things that your family did before you.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so growing up, you know, personally, I had it kind of rough. And so I so adamantly want to go against all that roughness that I came up with. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to be violent. I didn't want to be everything else in the environment I came up in. So my positivity, I actively seek out motivation. I actively seek out what is that called? Meditation. I actively seek out reading and knowledge and puzzles and why. I want to deconstruct everything to understand why the hell I'm thinking the way I'm thinking or why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't want to do it. I want to do the complete opposite, right? But at the same time, yeah, if you think about it, the majority of the people, like 90% of the people out there are just, well, that's what they did, so that's what I have to do. That's what my parents told me to do. That's what I'm doing. Happy wife, happy life. And I
Yeah.
hate that expression. I really hate that expression. There are so many dudes out there that are just swallowing a bunch of crap for the sake of compromise rather than, like you said, every relationship should be its own individual thing and everybody should be happy and content within what they've got. But this idea of comparison, you went to Jamaica, now I have to talk crap about you because I can't go to Jamaica, or I have to try to go to Jamaica and I have to go into the double all inclusive to one up your all
Right.
inclusive. you
Right.
know like, it's stupid. In my opinion, I think that's dumb. I don't agree with that, but I think that's what brings a lot of that negativity, which turns into misery or contempt, and that's what holds people back from having that balance in their life.
That's good. That's good. You know, my earliest lesson in that was a stupid, simple little growing tomato plants. My
Okay.
grandpa, my grandpa would take a few tomato seeds. I don't know if he bought the little pack for, like, back then it's probably like 25, 50 cents because they're $1 to $3 now. So for a few cents, he bought a pack of seeds. He'd put them in the bucket. Now, at the same time, I'm getting to be a teenager and I'm seeing the plants that are 4 times the size of his little seedlings that are popping up. Where's the camera? Like this, they're popping up. And I'm like, Papa, you could just go to whatever but big box store or
Oh,
the
to the grocery,
nursery
right?
and get tomato plants that are already this big, and yours are going to take a few more weeks. And he said, do you know how much they cost? And I'm still going to get tomatoes. But I was so jealous that people probably grow them in hot houses, get a little head start, then they put them out to sell them. And that's how you make money. You got something a little bigger and better than everybody else. And the jealousy in me, like, they got bigger plants, Papa. Like, and he's like, why are you in a hurry? We're going to get tomatoes. What is going to be a week or 2 or 3 weeks later? It's fine. And I thought, what a, he was just happy in the way he did it. He was not jealous that the plants were bigger, that somebody else grew. He was just happy with his process, his thing, which probably came out way healthier. Maybe his plants grew faster and better. I was too young to really get all the details after you start growing them. Maybe his soil was better and his was just going to blow up past everything else. But at the time, I'm just thinking, why are you starting so small when all you got to do is blow some money? Is probably what he's thinking. I'm thinking, I'm just thinking, get the bigger plant, be ahead of everybody else, catch up right away. And I'm not even thinking of the cost analysis that he's probably thinking of also, because he went through the Great Depression. So he's probably thinking, nope, for a quarter, we're going to get bags of tomatoes. And you already want me to spend dollars on things that are not guaranteed.
You're right. Right.
And I thought, God, it took me that's lesson. I was so young. That lesson stuck with me for so long that it's okay to start a little slower and smaller. It was more about the quality and the consistency will get you there if you're doing the right thing. You don't have to buy your way past other people or buy your way to the top, because you might not have the experience or the knowledge or the skills to stay there where you've gotten. And it's funny because I now deal with that in the beehive. In my hobby with beehives, there's a guy who's got thousands of beehives. I've got 15 or 20 at any given time. And so this one guy says, yeah, people will start with 4 or 5 hives and think, wow, I got gallons of honey. All I have to do is make a loan and buy 50 beehives and I'll be in the bee business. But they don't know how to manage 50 hives when they've only managed 4 or 5. And they almost always fail. He said, each year you only want to double to triple what you have. And if you so if you go from 5 to 15, that's huge. If you can
That's
make
huge.
15 last a year, well, then maybe you can go to 45 hives. And that's a significant difference in workload, management. I mean, all the things that keeping bees alive in boxes is not as easy as people think. There's a lot of management. And I've just played around with it as a hobby. And I've gotten up to 20 something hives and then lost 15 hives in a winter because I did some things wrong. And if I had a loan that I had to pay back that depended on that many hives all at one time without the experience, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, right. Sure. You mentioned jealousy. I think that's a huge play in things too. One of a good advice that stuck with me, it's really stuck with me for 20 something years now. I was in high school and I still remember my buddy's father calls us into the backyard and he said, I'm gonna have a talk with both of you. Goes, look, goes, it's the summer now. And next year, you guys are going to be, seniors. You guys are old enough now. I'm going to tell you 2 things. Goes, you're going to be chasing skirts. This is how he used to talk, right? This was 20 something years ago.
Right.
He goes, you're going to be chasing skirts. He goes, be respectful. Don't be and he cussed at us. Don't be a piece of, right? And he said, the other thing is when you guys graduate, you guys got to think about your future. And whatever you guys decide to do, make a command decision and stick with that decision. He goes, in life, you are here. You do not have the right, and you cannot look at somebody below you and say, oh, and snub your nose at them and stomp on them. That is just not, you are not being a decent human being. I will beat your butt. And then he goes, and then you're here. You cannot look at somebody who has more than you and say, oh yeah, it must be nice, blah, 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 blah. He goes, no. He goes, if you want that, if you're looking at that and you want that, then you need to work your butt off and get there. But then once you're up there, you can't look at this person in the middle and you still can't look at the person below that either and snub your nose at them either. You go, wherever you decide to land in your life, that is your choice. And you have to own that choice. He goes, and if you decide to step down from where you were or step up higher than where you were, that's on you. So, and I was like, that has really stuck with me all my life. Cause I see, like, we were at a restaurant and the poor waitress, man, they were hauling, she was hauling, like they were busy. The other table across from us. I mean, I don't know. You're that hungry? Like so you got to yell at her about it. That's the kitchen. Like ask for another piece of bread, or I don't know, ask for a salad or I don't know. I don't know what to do for you, but yelling at her is not going to make your food come any faster. And I get it. You want to complain about something. It was the way that table collectively was treating that waitress. And Carmelina is just like holding my arm because I'm starting to get up. Like I want to walk over to that table and have it out with them, And
Right.
she's like, just leave it be. She's a big girl. She can handle it herself. And when the waitress came over by our table, I flat out told the waitress, and I'm saying it loudly. I'm hoping they can overhear me. Like I'm itching for a fight.
Same thing in the airport. The plane's running late, or has a problem or whatever, weather. And some people are yelling at the lady at the desk, when are we going to get on that plane? This is ridiculous. It's been delayed 4 hours now. This was last week. I spit all over the place when I just said that. And 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 I'm thinking she doesn't control it, first of all.
She's not air
So,
traffic controller. Right.
right. She doesn't control the weather or what the air traffic. I mean, and yeah, maybe there's some bad decisions happening up line, but surely isn't her. She just puts you on the plane and takes you off. And she's catching all the heat. And it was just like, I was thinking, why you are yelling at the wrong person. Make a phone call if you want to talk. Don't use this airline if you want to rebel or whatever. But I can't say I've always been innocent of all this either, because that's one of the biggest problems. Is I was going to say it has something to do with age, but I guess it's maturity. Some
It's
people,
maturity.
as they grow up, get maturity. And I would say most people need some time to get the experience, because I've been mad in situations I don't get mad in anymore, because I have a bigger realization of what's going on and how stupid I might look, or I don't even get mad when planes are running late anymore. I miss a flight. If I'm the one that did something stupid, might be mad at myself, like, oh, I should have left earlier. But for the most part, I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like last night, it was delayed. We don't get home till, I don't know, 1:30, 1:45. By the time we drove home, it was a late night. And I just thought, well, worst case, let me just start planning. I'll be in a hotel. What time will we fly out? Maybe I got to call Eddie and tell him I can't do the live tomorrow. What things do I need to just replan, reschedule? Because, sometimes I get sick and I got to reschedule my whole life. If I die, I'm pretty sure the world's going to go on without me. I'm not the most important person.
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't
the
know.
I'm not the most important person in the world. So if things aren't going right, I just stop, look around, and think, what do I need to change those things? And so, the reason why I said sometimes I think you got to get older and more experience in certain areas to get a better understanding. One, to me, is that grass is greener statement. Like the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. There's a lot of ways people say it, or like the grass looks greener over there. Some people say it's not actually greener over there. It just looks like it from the perception. I say it is greener over there. And the reason why I say that is because now, being a homeowner for so many years, I love my green grass. And I've done the studies. I kill the weeds with certain chemicals. I kill the ants so they don't make little ant piles out in my lawn and give some, messed up structure to that flat, pristine lawn. I put the chemicals down. And do you know what? I got a diesel truck these days. And you know what started popping up on my YouTube feed because this phone listens to me? Have you heard of DEF fluid or diesel exhaust fluid? People who have diesels these days have to put other than diesel fuel, you got to put this DEF fluid in your vehicle. Well, DEF fluid is the cheapest. You got to mix the right amount with the water and whatever. And I'm going to try it for the first time in the next few days. You can mix DEF fluid with some water and spray it on your lawn. It's got one of the chemicals that fertilizer has in it that makes your grass really green real quick. And it's crazy. I've seen a bunch of videos doing it, and I'm thinking, you know what? My green grass doesn't happen easily. It's because I put a sprinkler in that
Yeah, you put a
automates the
lot of work.
watering.
Yeah.
Right. So I can either remember to water it all the time or spend a lot of money to put a sprinkler system in early on. So I have consistent watering. I fertilize multiple times. I use the weird liquids. I kill the bad stuff. I planted the right grass. I spray stuff to kill grass in certain areas, like around the edges, so it doesn't grow over into the flower bed or the rocks. I know the work it takes to get green, pristine grass. And so I say the grass is greener over there for most people. And the problem is you think you're going to leave and go over there because that salon looks like the better option, like, ooh, it looks better over there. Everything looks better. Yeah, until you get there, because you are the problem here. The grass isn't green right here because you don't take care of it like I take care of my lawn. So when you go over there, you're going to mess up their grass. You're going to stomp on it. You are not going to water it or feed it or take care of it. And it's just going to get terrible looking. So if you want green grass, make it happen right where you are. And so that's like an analogy or metaphor for everything in your life. You make your grass green. You make your wife better. You don't like your wife, it's probably because you're saying a lot of bad things about her behind her back. And if you just, everybody can get better. And so same thing with the people you work with. If you're talking bad about them all the time, talking bad about your kids, talking bad about your family members, and then you see them and you're friendly in front of them, then you leave and you say all bad things and notice all the negative stuff. Well, how do you expect that to get better? It's like the thermostat thermometer thing. You have more control in your life than you have.
Right.
And so I don't remember that all the time. I take little lessons sometimes in that, or I should say tests in my life, where either you go look at the thermostat on the wall and see what the temperature is in the room, and you just are hot or you are cold, or that's what you are. You either the thermometer that just says, what is the temperature? Let me join in and be the bad person here. The temperature is everybody's negative, I'll be negative. The temperature is everybody's positive. This feels good. I like being positive. Well, maybe in each of those situations, you could be the opposite. If it's a hot room, negative room, you could be the thermostat, where you go in there and you turn the temperature to what it needs to be. A little colder down here, maybe a little hotter up where you are. You change it to a comfortable atmosphere. You be the thermostat. Be the one that changes the temperature, the tone, the attitude in the room. You can be that person. And it's fun when you realize it. I was telling a friend this weekend, I said, I like watching you at get-togethers or parties. You really have these meaningful conversations and relationships with multiple people for a significant amount of time, but not so much time that it's just the two of you talking the whole party. I always wonder how you manage to do that, because I go one way or the other. Either I talk to one person way too long and don't talk to anybody else, and like, God, if anybody else wanted to have any communication with me, I might have messed that up. Or it's my own party and I feel like I got to make sure the food's good, everything's clean, the garbage cans are empty, and I don't stop and talk to anybody. And I'm like, I just had a party and I barely talked to anybody. Because
You had a party and you didn't attend your own party, even though you hosted your own party.
I was in there only in body, But it's the weirdest thing to have a party end and you're like, I don't feel like I actually talked to anyone. What was the point of this party? Just to feed them all so they could talk to each other? I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'll be right with you. I got to empty the trash. Hey, how you doing? I'll be right with you. Oh, it's good to see you here. I'll be right back. And I never actually get back, so I'm lying to everybody the whole time. I'll be right back. And I never actually. I had these intentions of getting back and talking to them, but there's so many people that rarely get back to very many, and I feel so guilty about that. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I was sharing that with RJ this morning. I was like, one of the guys this weekend, he asked me, what are your goals for this weekend? And that was one of the ones. Have some meaningful conversations with a few key people that I wanted to get to know a little better, or our relationship was a little bad and I needed to, because I owed at least two people on this trip, I owed a little extra, like, let me let them know I'm okay with them and let's have a little communication and get to know each other a little better. And then there was a couple of new ones there I'd never met before, but I had heard their names a lot through one of the other people that were there. There's a couple of karate school owners, and I really know Jude really well, but there was at least two other karate school owners there. And I had only known them in name and a little hi, how you doing at some tournaments. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be there like 7 days with these guys. One's a guy and one was a girl, and they're nice people. I thought, let me get to know them. And one of them's wife was there too. So we made some really good new friends this weekend, and they were really good people, good, positive people, very smart. And it was a little different for me, talking for hours about things that I didn't know a whole lot about. Like, one's a history expert. Well, I was really interested in what's the difference in the England, the UK, and Britain. It was like, Vincey goes, well,
huge. Yeah, three different things.
Well, but in some areas are all three. And then that name describes certain, I don't know my history, my geography as well as I'd like. And he knows it so well. It was pretty fascinating. One of the things that he brought up, totally off subject right now, but one of the things he brought up was the whole secession. If the if in a maybe a war or an attack or whatever, the president dies, who's next in line? Well, everybody knows the vice president. The vice president dies. A lot of people know who's next in line there. He knew all the way down to like 8 or 9 or 10 people down, and you're like,
That's cool.
Yeah, it was like that person would be president if the top 8 or 9. I would have never guessed it, you know. So he loves that politics and history, and he just knew some things. He knows every single president from the first one to the last. He can name them. You know, I'm like, I never found that useful, but it's pretty interesting. He knows a story about everyone, you know.
But see, here's a great example of what you're giving right now.
Yeah, bring it home, please help me out.
No, because it really is a great example. I was teaching in a salon, and I was having a business meeting with the owner, and it was kind of like a coaching, like an owner coaching session. One of the struggles she was having was they have an influx. They have, one of the salons in the area shut down, and her shop has inherited those employees of that salon. And you can only imagine the nightmare of that. Now you got to merge, 2 different crews. It's like 2 high school gangs all of a sudden have to coexist. It's high school all over again, And so she's saying, like, this group is very much this way. My group, I finally got them to this point where I want them to be like this. And now I'm back to herding cats all over again. It's chaos. She goes, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm going mental. And I was explaining it to her. I says, you can't be one way with one group and one way with the other group. You have to be you, which is your way. She's like, well, easier said than done. I'm like, no, it's not. It's really simple. You are you. You are the only person you can control. And the reaction that you want from other people is 100% dictated by you. That is your balance. That is your life balance, which is your job. Your job is your life. Your job is not your job. That's work. You go to work, you come home. Your job is to maintain your life. You have to go to work to help maintain your life. That is your job. And what that means is this. Myself, as an example, everybody knows, like, it's become a standing joke now to this point because everybody knows it so well. I love my milkshakes. I love my cookies. I have the ultimate sweet tooth more than anybody else. And if I'm not having milk and cookies or milkshakes and cookies, or sweets or whatever, I'm having a cup of tea. Okay? Everybody knows this. Now, when I show up, people usually will have a cookie for me and they'll be making fun of me. Oh, I got this for you, and because I always tell people, they're like, oh, well, what can we do for you? I'm like, well, if you want to bribe me, you can get me a cookie. Like, I always put that out there, that my expectation in payments and tips is definitely I work for food in addition to the money you're paying me, know? And people bring me snacks all the time, and I absolutely love it. I give them a big hug. I play it up, I am excited to get it, but I play it up a little heavier. When I go to work, when I go to the salon, we have a couple of new stylists that started at the salon. So now we have a bunch of new clients coming in through the door that have never been there before. Well, when I am at the salon, I am constantly goofing off. It's like a comedy show between me and my clients and the other stylists that have been there. We all are just goofing off constantly. We don't really have serious conversations with each other because when I go in, it's late at night. It's the end of the day for most other people. They're coming, to the shop from work themselves, or they've been dealing with their family all day. Now they just want to have their alone time for a moment. Mm-hmm. We're just goofing off. We just want to check out for the hour or two while they're there, right?
So that's interesting. I knew you work the evenings doing hair because you do the education during the day. So the few other stylists you work with, there are a few of them working all day and just finishing up, or working late, also double shifting it? Or do you work with a group of people that are also working the night shift kind of situation?
It's a combination of everything it's all 3. It's a combination of everything you just said.
Okay.
So the people that have been there all day and they're just finishing up, when I come in, they're like, oh, I heard last night was really wild, And I'm like, it was. You missed it. You totally missed it, I said, library is over. Close down the library on your side of the salon. the nightclub is starting over here.
Oh, that's funny. That's
And that's
funny.
my little Josh, and that's my little jab and my little jokes with them. The people who work the double shift, when I come in, I go in the back room, I put my stuff away, I start setting up and everything, right? They'll come, oh my God, thank God you're here. She's been driving me crazy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm here now. Whatever happened the first 5, 6, 7 hours before I got here, just enough. Kill it. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't care, right? It's not life threatening. It's not game changing. It's not the end of the world. So just that's it. It's 6 o'clock now. From 6 to 9, this next 3 hours, it's a new day for you. It's a new shift for you, and the people who are coming in, they're like, are we drinking tonight? Do you want to drink tonight? Or do we need to behave tonight? Who's on your books? Because I don't have any conservatives on my book. They're a little loose. They're a little wilder. And when I say conservative, I'm not talking about politics. I'm just saying
No, I know. I think it's funny because I had never drank on the job, but when you done here this long, you hear about the other salons and they're like, it's surprising to me that you don't drink. Cause when we go to, I won't name any names. One of the guys is like in politics now and probably wouldn't want the past brought up, but they're like, when I go to so-and-so's salon, after a certain time in the evening, he lines up some shot glasses and he does shots with all his clients. And I thought, I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's definitely looking back from years later, I'm thinking it was definitely a relationship builder if you're doing it with the right people,
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. So the night crew that comes in alongside with me, we're all looking at each other's books and we're going, oh, you have so and so. We can't really. Maybe we could put. Maybe we shouldn't. So,
yeah. But it's
that's
relationship.
The environment. That's our balance. Like that's our life. We're having fun doing what we're doing, and it's the only way we could do it. Conan O'Brien. Do you know that late night talk show host? I loved when he would go into the back room, of all the people working. He would get off the stage and do his little remote skits things. And one of the he got so many funniest things, but one of my favorite funniest ones was somebody had stole the girl's whiskey. Like somebody had drank out of her bottle. And she goes, I know because I marked it. And now it's below, like I marked where I finished drinking. And now it's like below that line. And he goes, wait, are you drinking? Why is this in your desk? Are you drinking on the job? She goes, I work for you. Yes, I drink on the job. And the whole little episode was who stole the drink? And he goes, and then like the next guy he goes to, no, I have my own. And he pulls out a bottle. And then he goes to the next lady. I have my own. I only drink this kind. He goes, I'm employing a bunch of alcoholics. Like, what the hell?
Right. He didn't even know.
Such a fun environment.
He didn't even know everybody was drinking. That's funny.
So yeah, to wrap it up, that's basically what I'll get at is, in my opinion, your work is your work. Your job is your life. Go to work, leave work, come home, do your job now on your life. Enjoy your life. Try to be positive. Seek out the motivation. Seek out meditation. Phone a friend. Do something to be that. I love that analogy. To be that thermostat. To be that temperature gauge. To decide where you're at. And if you're comfortable, then live your best life. Be the best version of yourself, as it said. Otherwise, if you're below the temperature you want to be at, then you're being negative. And if that really makes you happy, I don't know. Maybe.
It's hard. That's funny, right? It's hard to agree with that one, but
it's not for me.
Some people are happy or sad, right?
Misery loves company, I guess. I don't know. Like they have this
expression. I remember as a kid there was a period I went through where I loved The Cure. And The Cure was a sad band singing sad songs. And I joined right in with the sadness. And I think I was happy being sad for a year or two, just singing sad songs, So I get it. I get that some people can live their whole life like that. I don't know how, but yeah, but I agree with you. Be happy. That was a little song I wrote,
Yeah, right.
But I think the happy is a lot better. And I think that's all good team building stuff you talked about at work, just doing stuff together. There was I think I'd like to wrap this up with one thing that I noticed during the trip is that one of the families tended to enjoy the pool a little bit more than the beach, and all the other families were going to the beach most days. And so there was a little bit of like feeling of, have we spent enough time with that family? Is that family upset or mad or feeling left out? They came all the way to Jamaica because somebody in this group invited them. Who invited them? I'm thinking, well, I didn't invite them, so I'm not feeling guilty. But one of you guys invited him. He's one of you guys' employees. Maybe you should be making sure they're okay over there. And so I can't help trying to team build. And I said, you know what? It's only $20 a person to ride those rafts behind those boats where they try to throw the kids off of it. Invite their kids to come along with our kids, and let's just pay for it. I'll split it with one of you guys. Because I know Carson wants to do it, but I'll pay more to my fair share because I know you guys have a lot of kids, and some of the young adults that came can't really afford it. You know, they're coming because it's all inclusive. So I'll put a couple $100 up. If you'll put a couple $100 up, and all the kids that want to ride these rafts, and let's join the families together. And it was a good kind of close to the end of the trip team building, and that's where I always knew and remembered, but it kind of solidified the team building thing for me. If you got a group, like you said, those two groups that lady's trying to pull together, the herding cat situation, just putting them in a situation where they have to work together to do something, whether it's kayaking, canoeing, the ropes courses, camping, something where they're all spending a lot of hours together, doing bowling, just something.
Have you heard of those escape rooms? Can we put them in an escape room?
Sorta, but it depends on which one.
The life or death one, like the Saw movies, where you have to chop your arm off.
You don't get out, you die. That would be a good one because it's problem solved one way or the other, right? One way or the other. I actually kind of joked about that on the boat ride. It was like, they're going to get thrown off, and somebody might die, and joking around, my wife said, well, problem solved either way. Either the problem passes, and I was like, shut up, that's not nice.
It's such a Vinci thing. That's so
It
awesome.
was a joke. It was a quick-witted joke. I was like, well, we're not having fun till somebody dies. She said, and that might solve the problem, if the right one. It's true. It's just a morbid, good, looking on the bright side of the morbid side. Looking on the bright side.
I am all there. I am 100% all in.
If I die, some people will be happy, I'm sure. Yeah, let's end it. I'm going dark now. Gotta cut this thing off, Eddie.
Let us know what your guys' plans are. How do you guys feel about balancing life and work? Thank you guys for watching.
Subscribe. We really do. We got too many people that watch and don't subscribe here, so we need to keep reminding people, you're watching it, just hit the subscribe button. It's great if you do a comment, you hit the like button, that helps us also. We do this for free. Obviously, we sell education, and we'd like to train you, teach you how to do hair replacement, hair extensions, color, highlights, cuts, all the things we do. But just for no money at all, you could help us quite a bit by hitting that subscribe button. One day, YouTube might actually pay us a few dollars, and then it would be, it does. They do pay
Then I could get another cookie.
Yeah, you can get a lot of cookies then. But it really does help more stylists and people see this channel. And we are growing, and we appreciate it. And we are happy with where we are, believe me. But the subscribe would just help a little bit more. So do that, and now you can hang up. Goodbye.